Good afternoon, Tara. Thank you so much for joining us today to share your success story and being flexible and giving your time to us for meeting us today and sharing your success story. So I really appreciate Tara jumping on the call.
Thank you. Thank you, Shani.
So Tara, there are many international talent, the
Mm.
people that come from all different countries, students, green card holders, citizens in some cases, they are all looking for a job right now. The job market is really difficult, and you are definitely one of the inspirational people for all the people that are looking for a job out there. So wanted to, speak with you and see like, what are the things that work for you? How did Elevate Me help? And so I'll be asking a series of questions and, we'll take it from there.
Sure.
So Tara, before you joined Elevate Me, what did the job search look like for you? How were you doing it by yourself? And what were the struggles that you were facing before joining Elevate Me?
So before that, I was applying by myself. So on the platforms that I know, be it like the first one is like LinkedIn, but other than that, like looking at Indeed or JobVite, and maybe just like 3 or 4 websites because that's all I knew. And if there were a few companies that I was interested in, then I would go look at the career website. But as you know, like the job search process is very extensive and it's very time taking. So for each application that I fill, it takes me about like 5 to 10 minutes depending on what information they need me to fill out. And some most companies also do like have workday platforms, so you need to create a login for each and every application that you submit. So all of this takes a lot of time, which is not always possible, or which was not always efficient for me, because I had other things that I was doing. Like I have to take care of my family, I have to like also study and prepare for interviews, like if I get a call. And I was working on upskilling, and I was doing a few courses on the side just to like expand my skill set. So it was all very tedious, and I don't think I was reaching enough applications when I was like trying to do it on my own. So that's one of the main reasons that I was looking for such an organization which could like, or such an, a company that would be able to help me out and take care of that part of things.
Right. And especially, life gets busier. You don't have much of a time to do like
Right.
hundreds of job applications. Like, there's a struggle, right? Like between
Mhm.
preparation and finding a job and applying a job. So I definitely understand that the struggle that you have, as a individually working on it.
Mhm.
So Tara, you mentioned about the time challenge and, applying hundreds of job. But apart from that, what were the other challenges were you facing in terms of market knowledge, or were you aware about everything, or the things that you were facing challenges with the interviews, or just the stress of finding job? What were the different challenges you were facing before you joined Elevate Me?
So other than the volume of applications that I was struggling to hit each day, I would say the other part would also be like the technical side of things. So when I was preparing for technical interviews, of course, there's a lot of things online, like there's a lot of research that you can do. But since Elevate Me has like technical mentors, right, it just helped me. And the main thing is all the people who are involved in this are very easy to connect with. Like you can just reach them at any time. They were always reachable and helped me schedule like time on their calendar. So the technical mentors that I worked with, like I worked with Sagar mainly and with Munna a little bit. So both of them were always like making time for me to jump on a call and then just ask questions that I had. So it helped me close that loop wherein on the technical side of things it was prompt, like any questions that I had I was able to get that addressed. And also in terms of the interview part of it, since I have work experience, I have like domain knowledge or how companies function and stuff like that. But when it comes to like a little bit of networking and basic job market setup and all that, the initial sessions with Niti and Divina, it helped. They were very approachable and they did give a lot of information. So had I been like a newbie or a fresher, it would have been like super helpful for me. It was a good refresher in terms of how to approach it, but I'm sure it'd be very helpful for people who are unaware of how things work here and how the work situation is in general.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
a really good way to put it, Tara. I agree 100%. Like the people that are new in the market, our
Mhm.
services helps a lot. But also for people like you who know stuff, it's a good refresher. It's a good way to
Yeah.
practice. Reminder, right? Like it
Mhm.
reminds us again all the things that we should be doing in the interview.
Right,
So
definitely.
that's a great way to put that. So, Tara, when you were looking for a job, I'm sure you must have a lot of other options available other than Elevate Me. There are a lot of consultancy and staffing companies, and many other options are out there. So, what were the other options that you came across, during that period of your job search where you were debating what you should do?
So like you said, I did see other like the most common ones are like consultancies or staffing agencies, but some of them like also provide like proxy interviews and stuff like that. I didn't want to get into all that, first of all, because especially in nowadays it's like super risky, and it's not like worth it. So I wanted to land a proper legitimate job, like that was my goal, and especially a full-time job. I didn't want to get into contract jobs and contract opportunities again. So that was one of the main things I was looking for. And the other part of it is in Elevate Me, there was like it is like an end-to-end setup, right? Like I can get whatever I want to get. So you have a lot of resources available, and depending on what I want, I can like make use of that. It's not just, so you do have a lot of AI platforms which also apply jobs for you, and I did try out those as well. So initially I was doing all that. Like JobRite does have a subscription, or even the free one, which will apply jobs for you, but in that you cannot like modify it a lot, and it's an AI at the end of the day, so it not everything that it applies is relevant. And other agencies were also there, but they were only purely like focusing on the application part of it. But I felt like I needed a little bit more help in addition to that, like just a few technical sessions to gauge where I am and what I should improve on and stuff like that. So Elevate Me, why I liked it mainly was it had a lot of other resources that I could make use of. And if I was weak in technical sessions, then I could do that. If I was weak in the HR round, or if I was not able to connect with people or stuff like that, then I could reach out to Niti and focus on that area. So it was just like a well-rounded system, I would say, so which helped me choose it.
That's a music to my ear, Tara, because we specifically designed keeping these things in mind, that
Mhm.
it's a quick refresher, available mentors for technical help, for the interview preparation, coaching. So that
Mhm.
is exactly why we designed in a way that we just described. And I agree, the consultancies and all, they are doing proxy, and also they had fake experience sometime, which is
Right.
very problematic for, as I understand, because when you enter the border, they are right now blocking and sending back the people.
Yeah.
And the current situation with the ICE in the US, it has gotten so
Mhm.
much worse. As a
Right.
matter
It
of
is
fact,
very
yeah,
scary.
as I was watching a video the other day, it was, released by Border Security, where they are going after all the different, companies and the people that are having fake experience on OPT and things like that. It's a mess. So I think we should all stay away from that and, improve our community's image and brand image, I feel like.
Definitely. Yeah, that
So
is it.
thank you for sharing. And also that's very unique that you tried the job right kind of a subscription. And I agree. It's AI and it messes up sometime because AI is still improving. And nowadays also what I've seen, Tara, is sometime in a job description, they are doing the prompt injection, right? So they are adding some keywords and AI is picking up blindly. And
Ah,
so the hiring managers are getting to know that this is done by AI.
yeah, yeah, that is that will just mess up things even more.
Yeah,
So,
I know. It's like you make a bullet and then you make a bulletproof vest. It's like that's going on, the fight going on market right now.
right.
So Tara, of course, I mean, I can see you have a great personality. Your communication is awesome. So you are, definitely way ahead than many of the candidates and students we work with. So that, of course, comes handy for you.
Mhm.
But at the same time, before you join any services, you pay some money. You must have a lot of doubts about the service, about Elevate Me. So what were the doubts were there in mind, and what did change your mind to enroll in Elevate Me?
So of course I had doubts because it's not a small amount, right? And being a person who's out of a job, I've been out of the job market for the past 2 years now. I took a break to focus on my family. So then it has been 2 years now. I quit in September 2024. So, as a person who's out of a job, I was very apprehensive about the amount that I needed to pay. So, definitely that was a concern of mine. But what assured me was the package or the features that you offer, right? And mainly, like initially spoke to Pranali when about this whole program. So she assured me, and she was like, no, we have a contract, so if this doesn't happen, you will just get refunded, and you will not be like losing money if you don't get the result that you're looking for. So that was one big convincing factor, because I didn't want to pay like thousands of dollars, and if I don't end up with a job, I'm just out of money without having anything to show for it, right? And also, like when you say, okay, we provide training sessions, we provide all these things, and we will guarantee X number of interviews, which did happen. And I feel like a lot of it, the main part of it, has to do with the number of applications that you put out, and the second part of it is how well prepared you are. So I feel, for me, because I'm a person who has previous experience. Preparation was like a small part of it. I needed to like refresh, and I worked with Sagar on that, like on which concepts to focus on. But taking that time to apply day in and day out, I could see that like in my email, all the applications that were being made, right? Like two teams like working day and a night, like applying for so many of jobs. And out of that, because we know it's all a percentage, like you apply for 100 jobs, you can maybe expect just one callback. So you need to apply like thousands and thousands of roles to actually get proper interviews and make something out of that. So all these things really helped me, and what convinced me mainly was the guarantee of like, if you don't like our service, you can back out at any time. And if you don't get the result that you want, then you're not losing out money. So that was a main assurance for me. And I just decided, I liked the people that I spoke with, so I was like, okay, let me just take a chance and see what happens. So yeah, that's what helped
Yeah,
me.
I'll pass on your message to Pranali. She's amazing. I was having a call with her the other day. I
Okay.
like she's great. And yeah, Tara, I agree. Those are the things we have implemented to build a trust because we believe in our services, we trust in our process. So
Hmm.
we give a money back guarantee. If the you don't get certain amount of interview, we give money back. That's what you are describing. And also we have a refund policy in 15 days. If you join, don't like it, you can leave the Elevate Me, and we don't bother you. So
Right, that helps too, right? Like if I join and I see that, okay, applications are not being done, people are not responsive, I'm trying to reach out and nobody is responding to me, or I'm not, seeing any progress, then in 1 week I'll just be like, okay, I don't think this is working for me. Let me just, quit
you.
and just give me my money back. So since you have, I mean, that shows like the conviction that you have in your program, all these features or all these guarantees that you have, that you're offering, that shows there. So that was just convincing for me.
Makes sense. Actually, we were also thinking to give a job guarantee, but we are not allowed to give a job guarantee as a company
Because
because
you can't ensure that. Yeah.
yeah, law doesn't allow that to
Mhm.
us. But our incentive, our fees, as you know, it's actually incentivizes for the success only. So
Right.
we get to have some money upfront and then the most money after you get the job.
Yeah, after get placed. So yeah, you have also to gain by placing the candidate and by making sure they are prepared and the work is put in, right? So
Correct.
yeah, that was an added convincing point. Like it's not like you're just taking money and then doing something on the side and just letting the candidate stranded. So yeah.
Correct. Because we lose money, if we don't place you, we
Hmm.
also lose money as a company.
Right. True.
That's so we are aligned the incentives like that, properly.
Hmm.
Great. So after you joined Elevate Me, like what were the first improvements that you noticed in, yourself in the process, how the things started moving, after 2 years of break you had,
Hmm.
what did you notice? And by the way, before you joined Elevate Me, how much long you tried on your own? How many months?
I tried for like 12 months. So for a
12
year.
months. Okay, for a year you tried and then you joined. So what were the first initial improvement you noticed after you joined Elevate Me?
So two things. One was definitely the volume of applications that I was able to reach because I was also applying on my own, and also I did see that they were from a lot of different job sites that I haven't even heard of or I didn't even know. So that was great to see that, oh, there were all these new companies or different companies that I hadn't even come across before. So number one would be the volume of applications. I couldn't have reached it by myself, so that was great. And the second improvement, I would say, like on the technical side of things, like I said, it's very easy to learn on YouTube and all that stuff, right? Like you have a lot of resources online. But when I'm stuck somewhere, it helps that I have a person that I can reach out to just to ask questions. Or if I'm preparing for an interview, I would just reach out and be like, hey, just can you share a video that will be relevant to this? Like I was preparing for an interview with a company that wanted AWS skills. So I just asked about that, and he sent me a few videos that I focused on, and I could, breeze through the interview because of the knowledge I gained from that. So it's like dealing with an AI. Like I get the answer that is relevant to me, as opposed to a Google search where it's just like you have all the possible answers. Instead of that, it's very customized. So that I would say that I saw, like I could get customized help, like just focus on what I need help in, and I could reach out to the person that was concerned with that area, and then I would just get help accordingly. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and that is also very valuable. We have designed it like that because if we put you in, like, let's say 3 months or 6 month learning path, which is not required for you, right? You just need a little bit of help, push, understanding. So we have mentors available for that, so that completely makes sense. And you are perfect for us because we designed a system for people like you. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I can just focus on what I need and disregard the other features of the program that would benefit maybe someone else more than me. So yeah, that helped me in that way.
Makes sense. So, we help a lot of job applications. You mentioned that we increase the number of job application, hence increase number of interviews.
Mhm.
And you also talked about how team was available. Were you able to utilize our interview preparation service by, Niti, Divina, our technical side? Where you did you got any sessions with them for mock interviews?
I did have like two sessions with Niti initially when I started getting calls because I just needed a bit of a help with that, and she helped me fill out like the worksheet for that had general tell me when types of like star based questions and stuff like that, and that helped me prepare for future interviews also, where I could just fill that worksheet for, depending on the role that I have at hand. So I did it with her, and for the sessions, yeah, I always reached out to like Sagar. I did speak with him a lot regarding different technical roles that I was trying to interview for. So yeah, both of them were helpful, and I did have like maybe 2 to 3 sessions with each of them. So yes, that was definitely very helpful.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Those guys are amazing, helping with the interview and all of that. Now, during the mock interview, I know you were already experienced, you know how to do it, but what was the some of the refresher you talked about, right? Which helped you, sharpen your pitch. I mean, your communication skills are amazing, I can tell already, but what were the few things that team helped that reminded you of using certain things in your interview and storytelling and things like that?
So one of the main things, and I did have that question. So Niti answered that for me was in star-based questions, right? They ask you to give an experience about the time when you had to do so and so thing. So not all of us have experience like dealing with a difficult manager or dealing with something that you're trying to push and that's not going to production and stuff like that. So when they ask a question like that, of course you don't want to lie. Like I wouldn't want to lie and just make up an example and say something if I'm not sure about it. So I asked Niti in one of her sessions. I was just like, okay, what do I do if I don't have any example for that solution? I mean, for that question. So that stuck with me, and that was very helpful. Which she said was, you can say, okay, I've never encountered this situation before, but having said that, here is how I would approach it if it occurs. So this is what I would do if that actually happened. So that was, I didn't think of it before. I would just try to make up something, or maybe I would just be put on the spot since I haven't encountered that situation. So when she said that, that helped me be better prepared for such questions where I haven't encountered those situations. I knew what I would want to say, like how I would approach that. And I feel that is one of the main things that I was lacking, wherein if I didn't have a particular skill that the person was looking for, I didn't want to lie and say, oh yeah, I can do that, I know that. But at the same time, being honest and just saying, okay, yeah, I don't know this, or I don't have experience with this, doesn't really help out the employer, because they want to know that it's okay if you don't know something. Here's how you would approach the problem, or here's how you would think about it. So what she said was very helpful in terms of that.
Yeah, Niti and Divina, Sagar, Munna, all of these people are like, I feel like they are like a, AI by themselves because they speak
Mhm.
with so many students. They learn, they themselves practice, they themselves learn online. So they
Mhm.
can give a direct, specific help and suggestions that are really for you and
Right.
that can make a really big impact. I mean, you are smart, so you can recognize those small, small things. And I appreciate about that about you. But many people don't recognize how the small thing can change and give you a big impact in the business of coaching and services which we have. It's like a small, small things hits it and it gives a big result.
Right, for sure.
Because
Yeah.
I also use like a business coach for me,
Hmm.
and that is how it is our relationship as well. He'll help me in 100 things, but there'll be one or two things where he will help, and that gives like a 1,000 times return on money, return on investment.
Right.
And maybe other things may not be. So that's amazing that you have that understanding and you're able to recognize that small help. So
Okay.
we are very smart.
Thank you.
What was how was I mean, you mentioned that before that the team was very responsive.
Mhm.
Tell me about, like, when you had a question or when you needed help, tell me about the responsiveness and availability of our team, coaches and mentors and our, job application people and everyone.
Sure. So initially, I think the first time I reached out to help was to Niti. I was preparing for a RevOps analyst role, and I didn't have any idea about revenue operations or how to prepare for that. And it was like a complicated role, so I was very concerned about how I would approach the interview. And Niti helped me understand like the job description and what terms to focus on, and how that's when she walked me through preparing that job search worksheet for that role. And I did pass that HR interview. In the next technical round was where I failed, but then she was very helpful in terms of how I can prepare for such a complicated role, which I was a little intimidated by. And when it comes to Vipul, he was the one who was the career search
Career
executive.
service
Yeah,
executive.
that was assigned to me. So he was always very responsive in terms of asking me to reply to certain emails when I wouldn't check it so frequently. He was like, okay, hey, can you reply to this person? Can you finish the screening call? He was very prompt in that way, in taking care of my emails and the job search part of it. And also, when I had a few roles that I wanted to him to apply, I would just send him the links and he would apply for those as well. So he was very prompt. And I did reach out to him a couple times when I was trying to like figure a few things out in terms of applications, and he also helped me out in that. And Sagar, like I said, I was preparing for a role that wanted AWS, and I have no previous experience with AWS, which I did mention to the recruiter, but they were still interested in moving forward after the first round. So then I had to prepare for AWS, and I wanted to learn everything from scratch. So Sagar helped me out with that. He did send me like 2 3 videos that I could look at, and which gave me a good overview of AWS and how I can speak in the interview. So yeah, I would say those are experiences that benefited me moving forward. Although those interviews were not the one that I finally landed the job, that all of those made me progress and get better.
For sure, yeah. That is like a stepping stone for your success. You
Definitely.
try, fail, but you go up always.
Yeah, yeah. So I
So
would say that's another thing that helps, right? Like when I try and that doesn't happen. So initially when I applied on my own, right? So when I would have interviews and when I don't get the job, it just like demotivates me a little bit, and I don't go towards applications for the next 2 3 days. I just like take time off, and because I'm so disappointed. So now I can be disappointed because people are still applying on my behalf. My team is still applying. So I'm like, okay, the progress is still going on without me falling back. So that was also another thing that was very helpful in this process. That
that's a very, very good insight you provided. Yeah, I agree because you prepare for an interview, you fail, then you of course feel very disappointed. But that makes sense. Here in this case, the job applications are still going, everything is still going. So
yeah,
you like recover in a 1 or 2 day and then get back at it.
right. So that
Mm.
helped as well.
So, Tara, thanks for providing all this feedback. Now, please tell us finally, the role and the salary and you don't need to disclose the company. You can just tell us the industry. Tell us,
Okay.
where did you landed the job and the salary and tell us about the success.
Sure. So I'm going to be working as a financial analyst at a healthcare company. They are based in California. And since they are a local company, they have like several healthcare facilities. It's a great role, and the company is just a mid-tier company, so the salary range was not great to begin with for California. The range they offered was 80 to 100,000, and I was right now, I have been out of the market for this long.
Yeah.
Yeah, so though it's a little low for the Bay Area, I am fine with stepping into a full time role, and I can just progress from there. At this point, with the job market being the way it is, salary was not on top of my head on the list of requirements that I had. I was more concerned that I needed it to be a full time job, and the second thing, I needed it to be a good team. So when I interviewed, I really liked the people that I spoke with, and third thing was the role. I wanted to land a good role. I just didn't want to do something that I don't have any experience with, or just do some job that I don't know what I'm doing even. So I've always worked in data analytics, so I was very happy with the role and with the people and with the team. So that spoke to me more, and I asked for the upper range of that, and finally they landed at 96,000. So that's where I'm at, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Woohoo! Big congratulations, Tara. That's
Thank
amazing news.
you.
So, Tara, and also I feel like you wanted a local. So this is is maybe not too
Yeah.
far away from you. That's the big thing as well, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll have to move from somewhere else, and that's not possible with family.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
That's a huge win as well. Yeah. Whether it is your first job out of the college or the after the gap, it's almost similar. So you are
True.
very
Yeah.
smart,
So
not
the
for.
focus is on landing a full-time job, and once you get into the groove of things, you could always, job search again and look for your next role while being in that, instead of being out of a role. And any amount is greater than zero. So at this point, you have to
Yeah.
keep that in mind as well. And for me, like I said, I was mainly looking at like the team and the role. I wanted to have a good role, which is
Right.
in this case because it's a financial analyst role in a healthcare company. So I get like both the domain knowledge of both healthcare as well as finance. So yeah, that really spoke to me, and I was happy with this.
Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Beyond the salary and the job, how did it help with your family, your mood, your stress level how did it change, your surroundings? Because sometimes spouse or the family are waiting for us to learn the job and it will get stressful and waiting. And so tell us a little bit about that. How did all that change?
Yeah, definitely. Like, both my husband and my family was like very happy to hear because, as you know, I've been trying for the past year, and it's not been great because of a lot of layoffs have happened from big companies, right? So there's a lot of talent in the market. There's a lot of candidates who are competing with you. So it's been a struggle for the past 12 months. Like this process is very excruciating, and like I said, it's very monotonous. Like you have to keep applying, keep applying, keep applying, and it just gets very frustrating after a point. And if you're down, like I said, in terms of technical aspects, or in terms of say I want to polish my communication skills, or maybe my presentation skills, or how to network, right? I like it'll just throw me off for a loop, and I don't know who to approach. But over here I could just reach out to like Niti or Sagar, and people like that, and I would get customized help from them, which helped. So when I finally got this offer, I wasn't able to believe it because I've been trying for so long. So I was just like not sure
Really?
about
Is
it.
it really
Yeah.
happening?
I was like very happy, and it was unbelievable. Like, okay, is this really happening? And am I really going to join this? So, yeah, I was very happy first of all, and both my spouse as well as my parents, they were very excited for me. Even my husband's parents, they were overjoyed. They were like, okay, yeah, finally this happened, and just good luck for your role and when you join and stuff like that. So everybody is very happy, and like you said, it's a big stressor. You not having a job in the current situation, and especially when you're in Bay Area or some high cost of living area, right? You can manage, but it's very difficult on one salary to like run the family. And there's always that constant pressure in your mind of when you get the job. So, and you can't rest until you actually land the job. So it's always in the back of your head. So now it's like a huge relief that okay, finally this has happened. So now I can focus completely on like the job and learning on the job and training myself for that. So definitely I would say that like that's a big pressure relief for me.
Agree. Yeah. I mean, this is a huge, especially when you're trying for a long time and when you
Mhm.
finally get it, it's hard to believe. And yeah, I agree. The California is very high expense, so you need a two salaries in the house to sustain. So last question for the day is you mentioned about the upfront investment and doubts. Like looking back, did you feel that was worth it, and you got the return on investment that you were hoping for? How do you feel about investing money in Elevate Me?
I definitely feel it was worth it, and the main thing that I would say in this was, even when I spoke to Pranali, right? She said, okay, in case you're in not a great situation, I could speak to my team. We could work on the amount. We could customize it to you, or even when it came to the down payment. Initially, she said an amount, and then she was like, okay, if you're not able to do that much, you can do this much now, and then we'll work out on the rest of things. So it was kind of flexible, and I'm sure if I would have maybe not been in a great position, or had more concerns, they would be addressed. Like they would speak to me or work with me on it. So yeah, I feel I really liked the initial experience of speaking with the people that I spoke to. And also now I do agree that I'm happy that I paid this, though it's not a small amount, like I said, and though it's a paid service, you get what you've paid for. So I do get of course I didn't use all the services that you provided, but you provided more services than I needed. So I could make use of so many different things by paying this amount. And the main thing, like I said, that really made it worthwhile for me was one, the technical help that I could get to anytime, And anytime I had a question, I could just like reach out and be like, hey, what is this? Hey, I need help with this. Can we work together on this? And Sagar was always there. I would just reach out to him on WhatsApp, and he would set some time to connect with me on a call. And the second thing was the volume of applications, like I said, like, and relevant applications, right? It's very easy to just apply for random jobs that you don't even care about, and from companies that you don't even know. But relevant jobs relevant to my profile were being applied to, and Vipul was always very like prompt and helpful and very responsive when I had a question. So these two things really made it worth it for me. I don't know if I would have been able to do it on my own, only because you, and it's not like you said, you don't fake my experience, you don't like take interviews on my behalf, right? So it's all me. But it didn't happen on all these 12 months, mainly because of these two things. Like when I got stuck on a technical thing, it took me a while to like research and find out the answer to my technical questions, and then go from there. And the second thing was, I could not reach the number of applications that you need to do in the current job market. You need that, like, that volume does speak a lot, unfortunately. So I couldn't have done it on my own. So I'm really happy that and I do feel that it's worth it at this point when I look back on the experience that I've had. So yeah, I would definitely say that.
Well, Tara, thank you so much for providing feedback and inspiring everyone out there. We really, really appreciate your help. And I wish you good luck with your job. And we are here again if you need any further help. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye.